Well, hey guys, it's Catherine. We have been playing with different heat embossing techniques all summer long at Stamp Nation for our Heated Up event. I have used a lot of glitter embossing powder this summer, and like I was saying over at Stamp Nation, in my more than a decade experience stamping, I haven't used a ton of glitter embossing powders. And like anything, when something is new to you, you kind of have to play with it for a while, try out some different things, and figure out how to use it to the best and make it shine in the best way. So I've been doing that, and so today I'm going to use glitter embossing in a couple different ways. Also going to do a little bit of tone-on-tone embossing. We'll tie in some stamp of approval products, and we'll make a great thank you card. So if you are new here, I hope you will subscribe to my channel so you don't miss more videos by me. And with that, let's get stamping. So I'm going to start this card out by using the Painted Thanks. It's by Neat and Tangled for our Stamp of Approval collection, the Lovely Notes. And this is a layered stamp set. So you stamp this one in the lightest color, or you can stamp it on its own in dark and not do the layering. But if you're going to do the layering, this goes first in a light color, and then this one goes second in a medium color, and this one goes last in the dark color. So I'm going to start out with the thanks, and let's do it over to the left a little bit, and we'll do that with our lightest color. I'm using Memento Angel Pink, and I think this is going to be a really super light color, so I'll ink it a couple times. Make sure we get a good full image there. Now the next layer, I'm just lining that up, and we'll go, let's see, I think we're going to do we'll do the bubble gum. And we'll stamp it twice just for good measure. And then the last one we're going to do in Memento Rosebud. And you can see when it's finished, it has a really beautiful hand-painted or calligraphied sentiment. Now the next part of this card, I'm going to pull out my Butterfly Notes stamp set. I'm going to stamp this darling little butterfly here. And I could stamp them in a color, and I'd do maybe a little rock and roll and add some interest. Or I could emboss it, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Fool's Gold. And this is a really great glitter embossing powder, and it just has a really unique look. It's gold with a little bit of rose in there, and I just think it's really, really a gorgeous powder. And I see I kind of moved my stamp when I stamped it, so I'm just going to use my fingernail to pull off any of that excess glitter that I don't want. And I can use a little paintbrush to brush away even more excess. I'm heating up my heat tool before I hit the paper. This will help not warp my paper as much, because the heat is going to warp your paper. So the less you can heat it up, the less warping. You can see that turning. And if you get too much warping on your paper, you can just heat it from underneath, kind of even that out a little bit. We are doing a Heated Up event over at Stamp Nation this month, where we're doing tons of different projects and inspirations with different heat embossing products and techniques. Before I put my embossing products away, I want to do a little accent for this card. So I'm just taking a small little strip of cardstock and inking it up with my Versamark pad, and then I'm going to take that Fool's Gold and cover it. I'm going to get all glittery in the process. And then we'll heat it. You can see that turn. Now in my last video I did selective embossing, because you do not always have to stamp your stamps the way they come. So I want this stamp to be in a line instead of one on top of the other. So I'm just adding a little post-it note. I'm going to ink that up. We'll stamp For Being. Clean that off. And we're going to do the same for the Awesome. Mask that off and stamp. So the next step, I'm going to take this little strip and I'm going to add it right under here, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. I'm going to do a little ink blending, so I have spiced marmalade, and I'm going to sponge it onto my white cardstock. And you notice it's splotchy, it's not really blended perfectly. I'm not going to worry about that because you're not going to be able to tell when I die cut it. And just a little FYI, I have a little piece of Velcro on the bottom of my Distress ink pads, and this will hold your little ink blender so that they don't get lost and you always know what color it goes with. I'm putting this on my Big Shot and I'm going to run it through. This is the Concentric Circles die. This is another piece from our Lovely Notes collection. And this is a really detailed die, so I'm going to run it back and forth a couple times. I also have a little metal adapter plate on there. And if you have trouble getting this to cut all the way through, you can also try rotating a little bit and sending it through again. I'm grabbing my Misty again, and I have a little bit of adhesive on the back here. I'm just going to adhere this to the bottom of my Misty. Let's try to get it straight. I'm not doing it all the way in the corner because I'm going to use this lovely Lattice background stamp. And if I did it all the way in the corner, the design doesn't go and it won't get the edges there. So if I have it a little bit up that way, hopefully I'll get the whole thing. And I'm using my Misty because I know I'm going to want to stamp this a couple times to make sure I get a really good Versamarked image. I'm going to do clear embossing powder over this and then heat it, and we'll have a really nice subtle tone-on-tone embossed background. So the beauty of the Misty, see, I'm not getting it all the way in here, and I know I'm going to have my main piece right across here, so I'm just going to focus on the bottom and top. But right around here, I don't quite have it all inked, so give it some good hard presses. There we go. I'm going to use clear embossing powder. I have this giant jar by Wow because I use a lot of clear embossing powder, so I won't run out for a while. We'll just tap off the excess. Grab the heat tool, and it'll take a minute just to warm up. I'm not worrying about touching it right on the side here because I know that's going to get covered up by my layer. And it takes just a minute and then you'll see that powder change. Never get tired of watching that. So when you're done, this is what you're left with. It's so fancy. So now I'm going to pull this piece out of the die and figure out what I want to do here. So I have a couple different options. I was thinking of just trimming this off and adding it to the bottom like this. Another option is to pull out some of these pieces and add them straight to the card front, like this. I don't know if I'm really sold on this orange. I'm thinking if I do use the orange, I could use a few of these and maybe do a couple little flowers, maybe do a strip of orange at the top. I'm not sold on it. So I have this little piece sitting on my desk. This is from another project that I was making. Actually, I think the video that I just posted the other day. So I thought if I just added that like that, that would work. Now, since I have a little pink sticking out the bottom, I decided I needed a little bit at the top. So I just took another little piece of cardstock. I did direct to paper. I just took my ink pad and I just rubbed it straight across there. I actually used the Rosebud. I added dimensional adhesive to the back and I'm just going to add this to the card front. Hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial and you have some more fun ideas for the Lovely Notes collection. I have had so much fun playing with it, and now I can't decide if I want this at the top or the bottom. I think we'll go toward the top. So if you use any of the design ideas I used today, let me know in the comments section below. I would love to know. And also hop over to my Facebook page if you want to share projects with us. I always love to see what you guys are working on. Thanks for being here. Subscribe to my channel and I will see you soon.